well. All right. Hey, P-Seb. Welcome to the Big Sty. Thanks for the 6-month resub, dude. Welcome back. Petha's even linked up the replay pack for you guys who are too lazy to find it yourself. But, check it. All right, guys. Down here in the bottom right, just 2-0'd Cure goes into the round of 8 of this qualifying bracket to face off against a Protoss. It is Namshar. And his opponent, the creative mastermind, the dirty boy. He who is a little bit insane, and the hero of, I can't remember what his little country town in Korea is called, but I absolutely love that video. It's SOS. You guys remember SOS's BlizzCon video? The hero of, I feel like it starts with HW. Can't remember. His signature series. It was really good, and like his mom's telling the stories of how like he didn't come home from school, so she like calls the cops and they like go and find him in the internet cafe. The pride of Sachion. Thank you, KO Raven. Thank you. I think Nidus Worm should unload units like Roaches and Queens slower, Kudachai. I think the Ling Bane unload speed is maybe okay, but it's just insanely fast right now. The Nidus Worm's brand new, so I know some people have been like, oh, it didn't get abused too much in the latter stages. That's just because those players don't have as much practice with it, so they were sticking with what they know. I think the Nidus Worm's too powerful. Yeah, it was Snoot's suggestion to make it unload speed dependent on supply cost, and I really like that suggestion. I think that's a good way to do it, Florigin. Thank you very much, King Sejong, for the 9-month resub, carrying our first baby to term. What do you think about locking the Nidus behind an upgrade? Yeah, some people were saying Infestation Pit before you can build Nidus Worm. Basically, let late game Nidus have the same strength, but get rid of the all-in Nidus strength. Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Kudachai. Ragnar, thank you so much for raiding us up. How was your stream? StarCraft stream, yeah? I've only watched your stream when you were playing StarCraft, actually. Do you stream Magic or anything? Thank you very much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream, everyone on Ragnar's stream. Ragnar's awesome. Check your Discord pings. I will later. Have you been DMing me? Bet Ragnar's just negging me. She just sent me a message like, "Oi, pig, you're a dummy." And I'm like, "Ree." I read them just before I started my stream this morning. I didn't see any messages from you. "Oi, pig, you smell good." That's not how you neg. You gotta learn how to be a real pickup artist, Ragnar. You gotta be a gigantic douchebag. Gigantic douchebag. I've learned from the internet. Apparently, you know, I model myself on trying to be a combination of Alex Jones and all the top pickup artist guys. I feel like if I'm trying to spread the word about the alien conspiracies while also telling anyone I'm interested in sexually that they're a piece of shit, I feel like it's just gonna level up my life experience a lot. Oh god, Namshar built this extractor. Random jokes aside, that third base is dirty. I don't like that third base at all. I think that's a really bad third base. Nice opening by SOS here, who is going for a Glaive Adept opening. A sort of classic one as well, with a Stalker though. This is the version where you do deny the scouting. That Stalker already has 2 kills, and the Twilight Council did get spotted. Roach Warren is ready, but that Roach Warren's like too early for Namshar. Namshar's whole opening is a friggin' mess. Ooh, this is a really bad opening for Namshar, guys. Okay, so Namshar's preparing for the fastest possible adept timing here, which Namshar should know that when your opponent has committed to a pylon block on your third and a Stalker early, so it hasn't been pure adept, they can't hit you with the fastest possible adept timing. Not just that, this is a larger map than a map like Cyber Forest. I'm okay with you getting 4 or 5 roaches out 4 minutes 35. If you're playing Cyber Forest, they don't pylon block, they don't build a Stalker. In this game, Namshar could have got a lot more drones out before building this defense. And as it is, these adepts have no pressure to do damage because Namshar's economy is already shit. He basically has to go all in. with roaches and lings here. I feel like he's got to go cancel the third. He's looking to deny that third. Stalker's going to secure it nice and easily. And these Adepts looking to threaten. Shades coming in. Are they going to commit? There's a lot of Roach Ling on top of it. So I think, yeah, the Adepts have just got to get out there. As I said, you see this many units out of the Zerg, just walk away as SOS. There's no reason to commit. The Lings are going to try to trap. I don't think it'll matter. Yeah, it gets 2 more Adepts, actually. Nice micro by Namshar. Good focus fire. But a few of them do extricate themselves. The Warp Prism can come in and continue this pressure. And, yeah, it's going to go do some drops. More Lings are on the way here. As Namshar, you've got to go all in. Yeah, you got to at least cancel the third. But look at this. SOS is like, this looks suspect. Doesn't even build a third. Warps in sentries. Makes an Immortal chrono boosted. Please change the rally point in that Immortal. If that runs out to its death, I'm going to laugh my ass off. He changed it at the last second there. He's going to have the easiest hold of his life. Yeah, Namshar doesn't even know there's no third started. He's assuming there's a third started right now. He's sending his Lings back. Oh, he doesn't realize the Prism's there, though. His Lings just turned around. They went to go across the map. He's like, let's go. And now he's going to lose even more work because he's on 34 drones. Comes in and sees no third. Namshar feels his heart sink and says, I have been done. I've been tricked, befuddled, and wrecked. Yes, those Lings will finally get the Adepts, but 6 drones going down. Those Ravagers could even get trapped. Yeah, SOS is like, wait a second, I can fight this. I think a bit too ambitious, to be honest. SOS makes some interesting decisions sometimes. I get it at first when you just saw the Roach Ravager, but a little bit too slow to retreat there from him. So this makes sense. This makes sense. The Adepts here, warps in a few more. Up to 10 workers killed. Immortals on the way. +1 is almost finished. SOS can do whatever the hell he wants. He is way ahead in this game. I mentioned it earlier. Namshar's economy was kind of shitty. Tried to do something aggressive. SOS just got wind of what Namshar was doing and messed him up. I think Namshar kind of over-respected SOS a little bit there. Needed to be a bit greedier early on. +2 is on the way, as is Charge. This is SOS's favorite way to play, is a big +2 Immortal Sentry timing. Is like, you know what? You've only got Lings here defending. Let's just warp in a ton of these Adepts. I don't actually think this makes sense. I think right now, this is technically a strategic misplay by SOS. Simply because if you think about it, you know you're already ahead in economy. You know your opponent already has a big army, so as cute as little bits of micro like this are, it's just giving opportunities for your opponent to get back in the game. Obviously, it's like, you know, that's what opportunists do, is they see an opening, they look for it, and it can definitely tilt and screw with your opponent's head if the Roach Ravager was a bit too far on the map. But it was one of those things where I think just committing to at most 4 Adepts is all you need to do there as SOS, and that's like a risk-free commitment that can still fuck up the Zerg player. You know, you can drop in the low ground, drop in the high ground, shade around, do all sorts of things. But warping in more Adepts there when building up units at home and taking a 3rd Nexus is like the sure path to getting an advantage. That's why I do think that's a little bit of a mistake. So Adepts here, gonna come in again. Yeah, just cancel the shade pickup. Cancel the shade. There we go. He was misclicking the cancel a few times there. Picks up at the last second, does get out of there. Lovely dead space on this map. Hasn't built any real probe count for the 3rd base. And he's just going to do a gigantic push here with the Archons. That pylon is a little bit too far from the 3rd, which is why those were slow warp-ins. He's realized that, so he's building a gateway to speed up the warp-ins in future, and he's built another pylon there as well. So that's actually a fast warp-in pylon because it's close enough to the Nexus. I don't know how that one is not in range of the Nexus. That doesn't even make sense, right? Surely that's close enough. I don't know why they were slow warp-ins. It's weird. I guess it's only when the Nexus is finished, maybe. Yeah, that's probably right. I'm a dummy. I'm very jet lagged, guys. I'm gonna say many dumb things today. Immortals, Archons. Okay, can we go finish the game now? Don't give Namshar a chance, please. These Adepts continuing to get value. Let's look at that units lost tab. Yeah, that's pretty disgusting. Namshar's been down on workers all game, and his 1,200 resources lost ahead behind. So SOS has got +2 Immortal Archon. It's going to warp in a bunch of Zealots here. I actually like this one. Because the push is going across, this is going to pull the whole army out of position. And he's going to take a really good trade here. He's going to dive. The Ravagers are on top. They will stop that. Would have loved to pick up there on those Zealots. But nonetheless, army's in here on top of the 3rd base. Namshar runs forward to try and defend. But there's just nothing to buffer for these Ravagers. They did some good focus fire on those Archons, actually. Look at this Archon. Namshar's going to type GG. Let's go back to the start of that game and break down why Namshar's opening was such a mess. Because it really was. It really was. So Namshar's gone for a slightly delayed link speed. No, cancel. Gets it on time. Still has 2 workers on gas, interestingly. It's going to come out with these lings. It's going to go for the third. Loses track of that probe. Oh, you've got to chase the probe. He wants to sneak these 2 lings past the adept coming across the map to get a scout, and ends up letting the probe come back and block the third. Oh, yeah, that was really sloppy there from Namshar to let this happen. Because that pylon going down at such a late time, that's early enough that this shade can get in and then you know, deny you. If you at least had all 4 lings here, you could stop that. But yeah, that's why you've got to chase it. So it was going for the ling scout, of course, combined with the overlord. The overlord going down is actually fucking sloppy as well. That overlord surely should have been able to take shelter. Or does his ling get denied? Don't tell me the ling gets denied before it sees the twilight. No, it sees the twilight. And he does just go for that third, which I still hate. This third's absolutely terrible because it's got this choke point between it. And it's just really far away. I feel like Namshar should have just still gone for this one. And I'm also just a little bit surprised he's got so much gas. I think he was planning to go overlord speed because he's playing SOS. Thing is, mining that much extra gas, it really takes away from your mineral count. You add a delayed third, forgetting to cancel the extractor. This adept coming in and getting a drone kill or 2, forcing spore crawler tricks. Ugh. This is so funny. Yeah. There was no reason to send those Zerglings in for scout. Also, yeah, that overlord died because he wasn't microing it. Because he was so distracted. So check this out. He didn't micro it onto the high ground, so the overlord just dies. I can't watch anymore. That's like the fucking worst an opening could ever go. And it all sprang from him not following SOS probe. If he followed SOS probe with the lings, instead of trying to sneak those lings across, and he just relied on the overlord to scout or something else, would have been totally fine. That in itself shouldn't have been as huge of a mistake as it was, but it was the follow-up mistakes. It was leaving guys on gas when you desperately need minerals. It was not letting that, getting the drone cancel at the third. It was not adding extra lings to shut down that adept and then having to do all these spore crawler tricks. And then it was also building your roach warren way too early against the follow-up. So just, I think sloppy play in general from Namshar in that opening was way behind from the moment he was building roaches at like 4 minutes 15 into the game. You don't want to be doing that against an SOS who was not rushing to adepts. SOS was not committing to that. SOS sacrificed an adept early. SOS built a stalker and SOS built a pylon to delay. These are all things which slow down a crisp adept timing, but Namshar was playing it as if SOS was doing like a Neeb timing where he gets in your base at 4 minutes 30 with 6 adepts and starts ruining you. Alright guys, down here in the bottom right, it is SOS, the Chaos Master himself. Up here in the top left, stable defensive player who we saw get totally thrown off his game in that last one. It's Namshar. Yeah, I like these cards to just be somewhat analytical, tactical nuke. A lot of these games, all these games were all cast on various streams. Some of them even on the main stream during Katowice, but obviously I don't cast a lot of them. A lot of them are on the B and C streams, so I don't get to watch all of them. There's so many games going on at once at Katowice. So it's just a good opportunity for me to kind of get up to date on all the things that went on outside of the main matches in the top 8, top 16 players. Because I didn't see as many of these matches. And I will get to the later matches in the group stage that I didn't get to see as well. So for me, it's a nice way to do that. And I think it's kind of good because it kind of borders the line between, hey, it's some exciting casting. At some points, there is some fun, there is some excitement. But a lot of it is me just kind of trying to understand what's going on and learn. And you guys can kind of learn along with me, hopefully. So it's good stuff. This probe is a terrorist, says Huge Kunoberg. Yeah, he's an absolute shithead. So what he's doing, guys, is sitting there, and he's trying to just mine from here for a second, and then mine from there for a second. But he's never continuing mining long enough to get the minerals in the hand. And that basically occupies those mineral patches, because each worker, you can only have one worker on it at a time. Now, SOS overstayed this time, and he will go down. Surely. Yeah, he's taking too much damage. He won't get the regen. He was there a bit too long. But yeah, basically that just bounces your workers off those patches, and if you don't counter micro it, Namshar did a good job of counter microing it, they start going and stacking up on your other mineral patches where they're spending time just sitting behind other workers rather than actually dealing with it. SOS sees the lings trying to sneak past and is like, oi, get the frick out of here, man. SOS, APM, and micro is so much lower than other pro players, by the way. He's got great micro at times, but there are a lot more misclicks, a lot more kind of inaccurate plays, and that sort of stuff. And that's just kind of very common for pro player. Don't you love that, guys? He rallied the Stalker down here because he knows the Overlord's up there. So he's rallied it in. He wants that Overlord to come in, and when it's about here, where it's close enough that it can't escape, that is when he would show the Stalker to kill it. So he's trying to leave the front door open to invite the burglar into his house while he's waiting behind the door with a screwdriver. That's what this Stalker is right here. He's like, just like leaves his fucking wallet open with $100 bill sticking out of it, like in view of the open front door. And he's like, come into my house, thieves. Yeah, this Overlord's like, I'll come in. I'll take a little look. It's just checking for tech below that pylon. Notice the Stalker's like, a little bit deeper, please. A little bit deeper. And the Overlord's like, no, I know if I go any deeper in, you can slam the door shut behind me, man. The Stalker's just like, come in. Come in, man. SOS is like, God damn it. So what he's going to do, if SOS was, it's Namshar, right? At a lower level, what you would do there is you'd move the Stalker above the Overlord, then shoot it, so it would automatically run away from the safety of that high ground. Obviously, Namshar is such a good player. SOS knows he's going to react in time. He's not going to be shit enough to just not pay attention. So he doesn't even bother because he knows there's no point in putting that APM in. His opponent will counterplay it very easily. So here we go. Once again, like I said, if you go Stalker, if you commit to things like, you know, the probe harassment, the early adept, not the early adept doesn't really matter. Basically the Stalker, and if it's just generally an SOS style player is very rarely going to hit a very crisp adept timing. This is like the fastest adept timing you're ever going to have to worry about. Namshar this time around has 46 drones. Still has roaches out on time. So this is what happens when you do the proper opening as Namshar. Is he going to commit to the shade? He does! Holy crap, he's going to dive. Okay, these adepts going YOLO. Focuses down a roach, but oh, that Zergling actually did a great job of blocking up there. And it looks like really good hold by Namshar this time around. One more roach does go down. Adepts are going to try and shade out of there. This roach can get that. If they can get that adept, that's really beautiful. Gets it! Ooh, there's only 3 adepts left here. That's a lot of the pressure gone. 8 more drones queue up. A lair queues up. Namshar, large and in charge in this game, shows a flawless defense, which is really nice. I like seeing that. SOS did the same sort of opening, but after a disastrous first game for Namshar shows what the proper defense is meant to look like. The adepts were still shading around, pressuring a little bit there, and because they were doing that shade, they saw there was no more roaches following this up. So SOS isn't too worried about this being an all-in attack. You might say, where's the third base? Well, it's a 2 Stargate follow-up. So remember, this is a build which Roddy loves, Trap loves it. If you go to All Things Protoss and you look through the Build of the Week guides, you'll find there is a write-up from Gemini talking about Trap's execution of it. And you should always ask Roddy on his stream about this. And if you do ask him about this build, ask him for tips on Trap's Adept into Phoenix build. He really likes it when Trap gets credit and not him. He definitely doesn't get salty at all since he was doing it for like years before then. If you want to piss off Kevin while he's streaming... Don't be dicks, guys. Don't be dicks. I feel like I'm giving you guys way too many tips on how to troll other streamers. Honestly, Roddy is an absolute god at this opening, though. And SOS doing a good job. I like the Adepts here being annoying. The Phoenix taking a lot of damage, though. Ooh, that Phoenix is very low. Namshar is up at 59 drones. He's got even more queens on the way. He's going to Hydras, more drones. Still no third up for SOS. I feel like that's incredibly late. Like, SOS should have dropped a third a minute ago while moving across with this pressure. And that totally would have changed the scenario. As it is, I feel like this is sloppy. SOS, get in a corner. Oh, man. SOS is one of these players who, like, consistently will let his units get surrounded in the open. It's okay in this scenario because he had enough Zealots, but if there was, like, a few more Zerglings or, like, a +1 melee there, that could get bad very quickly. This is one of these things, I think, if you're playing at home, if you watch Stats or someone, almost never lets his units get surrounded at that third base. There's always the chance of a Ling Swell, so just by keeping those units wedged in the mineral line or, like, here, where there's only a little choke point there and stuff, it just makes it a lot more reliable, and it can do really well. If SOS micro isn't as good as other players, his micro's generally very good. It's more his multitasking, and occasionally you'll see him misclick a bit. Says, yeah. If his macro isn't as good, what is it that makes SOS? It's pure strategy. He does crazy all-ins. He plays weird styles that no one else does, and he takes advantage of his opponents. SOS is a pure strategy player. Yeah. Like his micro is still good. Don't get me wrong. It's not like it's absolutely appalling. Like, Haas is a player who will throw games a lot harder than sOs. sOs has been known to throw games because he does lack some of those mechanics. But like Haas is someone who is capable of just playing so appallingly bad from ahead sometimes. sOs, I think, like isn't quite the same, but they're in the same vein of player in that it's pure strategy. It's players who want to just win by surprising their opponents, catching them off guard. And I feel like most players in StarCraft, because it's such a complicated game, they look to play a style where they're playing the opponent's race. They're saying, this is what's good against this race. I can be safe against this, safe against that. I can exert my mechanics. I can leverage this strategy that I want to do because it's good against that race. sOs wants to do shit that it takes advantage of his opponent, takes advantage of the metagame that his opponents are all playing in. And it's never about being solid against stuff. It's about saying, people are playing with this assumption in mind right now, or this opponent's playing with this assumption. I'm going to go completely against that. And I'm going to take advantage of the fact that they're clearly not double checking for something, right? So a lot of people forget to kind of check, oh wait, is my opponent actually not going to do that? Or am I assuming they're not going to do that? There's a lot of assumptions that go on in a game of imperfect information. Right now, both players don't know exactly what the other one is up to. But sOs is the one who's usually putting crazy amounts of study into these cheeky maneuvers, does the last thing that his opponents would expect. Glaives is done, as is Charge. The Phoenix, oh, they fly over the Queens. One Phoenix goes down, another one almost goes down, and the problem is that's 10 Phoenix. If they come in on a flank, when the Hydras are spread out, they can take him out. But, oh, Immortal in the open. But Force Fields could be punishing here. sOs doesn't have any Archons. He's making Psystorm. Yeah, he's got to get the rally. Get the rally, get the rally. Misses a few Hydras. Okay, there we go. He's got to pick off these Hydras because the Queens and the Hydras together is just brutal. A gigantic Roach Ravager Queen timing coming across the map. The Queens are going to go back and fight those Phoenix. They're going to push those back nice. He's queued up the attack move, the attack focus fire on those, and that's going to secure the Hydra rally. He's got a Spore Crawler there as well. That base, lots of drones going down though. We see here sOs, he needs that Psystorm. He's almost got it up. Oh my god, that Robo Rally I was talking about in the previous game. sOs does have that sometimes as a problem. Ooh, he does trap a lot of these units with the Force Fields. Does take out a few of them, but Storm's not quite ready. It's seconds from finishing. Oh, but he's going to lose all of his units. Namshar so clumped up. This was a gamble of an attack from Namshar, but he kills all the High Templar before they can morph into Archons. Yes, he eats a few big Storms. But sOs, I think he thought his Psystorm was ready. That single Immortal rallying in and him going, oh, fuck, don't worry. I think I can take it. I've got Storm. I can use Force Fields. Didn't realize his Storm wasn't quite ready. And I think, sOs might have actually made a perfect hold there if he was able to reconsolidate, especially because the Queens weren't here. If he waited a little bit longer, pulled the Phoenix home, notice those Queens still aren't at the front. Those Phoenix fought with the Immortals and he had the Storm done. Oh, could have done it. But as it is, Namshar's going to roll him over now. There's just not enough left here. Transfuses, the fourth base is up, 75 workers, more and more Hydras on the way. And the problem is you just can't get the time to get up more Psystorm at this point. That was a single fight, a single set of Psystorms, which are going to take way too long to recharge on these brand new High Templar. sOs fighting his little heart out, microing his little heart out, but these Immortals taking big damage. That single Immortal trying to get out of there. Those Archons and Immortals trying to come down that ramp as well. Another stray Immortal into the fray. Hydras, Roaches, Ravagers, Probies trying to hide. They're like, there's fucking Zerg everywhere, man. Leave us alone. Oh, that's a juicy Storm. That is. Yeah, beautiful Storm there as well. That one not quite as powerful, but still quite good. And Namshar's just got too much stuff. He's killed the natural. Murder. Dude, they're non-combatants. What the hell? Namshar not caring about the rules of law. The rules of law, the rules of war. The laws of war. And GG's. Nicely played there by Namshar. Ties up the series 1-1. Let's go into game 3 on New Repugnancy. sOs specializes in waiting with a screwdriver to shank you when the door's open. Pretty much, Cliggity, that sums up sOs style very well. That's basically what he does, man. The rules of engagement. Up here in the top right-hand side, in the blue, it's Namshar. Does Namshar have a team right now, guys? Jamie, look that up for me. For those of you, if you're sitting in Twitch chat right now wondering who Jamie is my collective. You guys please Google things for me. Down here, it's sOs. Still on Jin Air Green Wings, of course. Infinity Gaming is Namshar's team. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate that. Much love. Hey, Bahamut. Yeah, IEM Katowice is our first half of the year biggest event. BlizzCon's the highlight of the second half of the year. That's the highlight of the first half. So, dude, it's been a lot of fun. I am back. I'm jet lagged as all hell. Did I finish my coffee? I did. I feel like I could use another. Whew, it's going to be hard surviving today. I'm definitely past the point where I can keep playing. Unlike Rotterdam, I'm not a big fan of the 10 hours of straight ladder. He did 2 streams. Today/yesterday. 2 streams. I tuned in. I was like, oh, cool, Kev's streaming. I tuned in this morning when I woke up as well. He's streaming again, another stream. I was like, what the hell? You know, he really likes just scraping the rust off in one big go. I played for almost 5 hours this morning. We did all right. Definitely very rusty. But I think for the second half of the stream, I'm like, let's just cast some games. Look at some replays. Have some fun. And it should be awesome. You wish I casted more events? Thank you, Pether. Appreciate it. Yeah, hopefully I will get to go to a couple of the events this year. I'd love to go back to Montreal. I had so much fun in Montreal this year. And I really hope I get to go to one of the Kievs. Because I've never been to the Ukraine. And if I get to go to Kiev, it should be like the warm time of year. And I'll definitely stay an extra day or two and get to explore. Because that's my thing. Been to so many places in the world. And most of the time, it's like, well, I know what the airport and the convention center looks like, and nothing else. So starting last year, I started actually exploring the other cities. Spent an extra day or two in Austin, in Montreal and stuff. Had so much fun. The cast with me and Maynard had you dying, Johnson. We had a few good ones. I like the one where Maynard just started shouting at the viewers. He's like, "Wake up, sheeple!" And he was like, fucking Maynard's like reading copy past. He's literally casting that stupid copy pasta about like, what was it? It's like, this is not the hill to die on. He just didn't play good or whatever. I was laughing my ass off at that. Maynard slayed me, man. Maynard was really funny. We all had a ton of fun. Such a legendary event, guys. All right, let's talk about this game because SOS is going Adept Stalker. But guess what? Namshar has not been able to get the scouting in. You might just assume it's Twilight Council again. It's not. It's the Robo. It's the Robo. And where are those lings? Only 2 lings. I feel like that's like so greedy. SOS is going to die. No. He couldn't get in between the mineral patch, so would have been a little bit too YOLO. Oh my god. Charge. He's got to go charge with this, right? Unless he does 2 adept drop in. Oh my god, that would be so SOS. If he doesn't make charge, but he just makes 2 adepts with his prism. It's prism first for sure. Look at this. This is such an SOS build. This is disgusting. So he's kind of doing heroes adept drop, I'm pretty sure. Like he's just going to drop a few adepts, but then he's just going to have the most random DT timing of all time. And he almost wants Namshar to see this warp prism. He wants him to see it. Because normally if they go DT drop, they go Twilight, then Robo. With a prism this fast, and you see, yeah, he's going to bring it down here and use it to kill that Overlord, but also show the fact that he has a prism. So check this out. As soon as Namshar sees this prism, Namshar says, oh, this is a Robo first opening. What's he worried about? Immortal push. Gateway all in, Immortal drop. These are all things that are on his mind. Delayed DT drop is something which technically, if you're being very safe, you will cover yourself against. Guess what? No one expects a DT. The thing is, it's not actually delayed that long. The DT, if you go straight Twilight Council into DT Shrine after Robo, you can still get that DT Shrine finished at a good timing. It's just people don't normally do it in this order. Because of that, Namshar's not thinking about it. No lair, he's got a Spore in the main, but that was an anti-Oracle Spore. And only now does he see the DTs. And he goes, oh, you're fucking kidding me. Who goes DTs off this? And he was not expecting it. He thought it would be either a Glaive Adept or some sort of Robo push. And yeah, he wasn't playing safe against every option. SOS just going to click on that hatchery. Ooh, no, you got to click on that hatch. That Spore's almost done. Don't be an idiot, SOS. You got to click. Oh my god, that's a missed opportunity. That's a missed opportunity here for SOS. I really do think that's a big screw up. I think he could have got that 3rd base for sure. I think he was expecting there to be an Overseer coming down, so I get it. I get why he did this. You're not expecting a Zerg to be this unprepared. That lair's just started, but this is Namshar. Namshar, if he doesn't think it's this specific opening, he will delay his lair by a crazy amount of time. And he even does this sometimes against the DT drop when he knows it's coming. Namshar is a guy who loves his work account, loves his hatch tech, and he loves to just stay safe by building an abundance of units and then go into a delayed layer. He does this in many of his matchups. He's all about the drone count, all about the mineral buildup, all about a solid queen count. You can see here, even making a few ravages to heal up those low hit point roaches, give him a little bit more range damage and maneuverability, and he's just going to try and pick this off. Good Archon micro, picks off one of those roaches. He's going to go for that Ravager. He's going to change targets to that roach, but already one Archon a little bit too low. Third base is down behind this, +1, and 4 more gateways. So Ling scouts the third. Namshar says, okay, you're going for a third. It's not a very quick third, so you do need to keep your eyes open as Namshar here. Namshar, though, has not been crazy greedy. He's got +1, roach speed on the way. And how many queens? 5 queens. I wouldn't mind swarm hosts off this. I don't think it's the best map because it is kind of a decent rush distance. But if he can push his queens out, and he really should have an overseer on the way and be getting rid of that observer, you know they're going to follow up with an observer to slow down your creep. Because if he can get rid of the observer, push his creep out a little bit more aggressively, swarm host would be amazing off this sort of setup as Namshar. And I think they're really good versus the style that SOS is playing. Because if you get rid of the observer, it's very hard for the Protoss player to really be mobile enough to spot where those swarm hosts are and to intercept them. So you can often get your first wave straight across that map. Still only at 55 workers is Namshar. No 5th gas even. I'm starting to get worried for Namshar. What is he focused on? He's adding drones only a trickle at a time. He's adding a few more roaches. I think he thinks there's a big all-in coming. He's thinking about that +2 timing that SOS is so famous for. His Lings are going to spot a move out. But SOS actually has a much higher work account. And I think Namshar's reading this as an all-in attack. It's not. It's kind of similar to what Stats was doing in a lot of his games in the finals and in the semis against Dark and against Su, where you're kind of just looking to force an over response. You're saying, hey, build roaches. Roaches are shit. And roaches are great if the Protoss commits into an engagement on creep. The roaches can win this fight. They're the best defensive unit. As the game goes longer, they're trash. It means that SOS can continue to work on his upgrades, his Immortal, his Archon count, and be very comfortable. These Archons continuing to come in here, but look at that Namshar pulling back the weakened roaches. He's only going to lose 1 roach there. And 1 roach to force those Archons away for about 2 minutes. It's going to take 2 minutes for those Archons to regenerate their shields. That's awesome. And now at this point, Namshar's like, hey, where's your army at? He doesn't have a lot of Lings. He doesn't have an Overseer anywhere on this map. So he doesn't really see what's going on. SOS sees everything. And Namshar's like, I wonder how many probes you have. Is there an army here? He doesn't know what he's going into. He's very blind. Force fields could be devastating. Namshar, he split his army accidentally. He's got to be careful. Okay, 3 roaches, 4 roaches do go down for free there. Namshar has droned up to 70 workers behind this. He's getting up to a decent working count. The problem is, are you going to get more upgrades? Where's +2? Where's the Lurker Den? Where's the Hydra upgrades? He's got a Hydra Den. He doesn't have any upgrades for it, though. Still no Overseer here. The DTs are going to come in and start working on this. This army of SOS, more than a match for Namshar's shitty little Roach Ravager force right now. And the DTs are going to send him home, looking for the biles on the DTs there. But SOS was watching, paying attention, is not able to get it. Hydra upgrades and OV movement speed on the way. So he's going to go for Roach Hydra multi-prong and drops. Guess what? His upgrades are a bit too far behind, I think. +2 versus +1. And he's been droning a lot. He's trying to build Zerglings right now. He does not need Zerglings. He needs more Roaches, Ravagers, and Hydras. He needs to get down there. SOS able to get a forward position, which means his force fields could be way more devastating. He's going to trap a few Roaches. Not the best force fields. Not the worst either, though. 1 good wave of force fields in this game could end. He's down to only about 2 force fields, though. And oh my god, SOS there. Microing a little bit weird. But you know what? Those Immortals are tanky. Those Archons. There's just too much Protoss, I think. It's a gigantic army. Well, 1 more Zealot warp in could do it. The problem is, how's he going to siege up to warp in? He'll get biled down. He finds space for it just as those Ravagers retreat to the north. And yeah, I mean, there's still 5 Immortals with +2. +2 Immortals, 3-shot Roaches, guys. And the Roaches just get devastated. Yeah. I think even +1. Actually, don't Immortals always 3-shot Roaches? Yeah, I'm dumb. I think it's more for the Zealots and the Archons. My maths is good today. Figure out that in a second. Too many units. The Roaches rallying out individually, fighting Zealots and Archons, not going to be enough. Nice play here by SOS. He really scared the shit out of Namshar. Namshar overreacted, tried to catch up in the economy, and died to the delayed push. So we saw both Hero and Stats doing this sort of thing quite a bit. SOS, beautiful play. You'll notice he doesn't have Storm. So that is this is a big commitment from Protoss. Like, delaying your Storm this long, committing to more Archons, more Immortals, more Zealots. It's not for free. You can't just do this push for free, but it's going to be enough. Even though the Immortals are getting surrounded down there, they're going to take like 1 billion units out with them. And yeah. Those Zealots chasing that Roach rather than killing the entire economy. Zealots are big brain units. Yeah, GG's. So I think the big problems for Namshar this game was his scouting in that mid-game stage. So around this point, you want to always have an Overseer scouting their base. Remember, I was talking about the Overseer on the defense. His layer's very late. Because his layer's very late, he doesn't have a lot of info. I think a few more Lings on the map is super key, just so you can kind of poke around and see what's going on. Not having any Zerglings can really cause you big problems. I also think he could have squeezed out more drones more aggressively against this opening. So I feel like he was just a little bit too slow to drone. Where you know, he gets supply blocked on 106 here a little bit. Like right now he's got 6 lava, plenty of money. And he queues up 2 more drones. He's still got 5 lava and he's not supply blocked. And because he's not doing that, he finally queues up some Overlords. But it's like, why aren't we building stuff? And then he loses an Overlord and he actually is supply blocked. So Namshar floating a bit of money here. That's unforgivable at this level of play. Overseers, get rid of that, but also have an Overseer flying through the enemy base. Because if he's flying through, he can just keep tabs on this. And most importantly, what are you going to see? That's actually a decent handful of probes on that base. Not just that. What are you going to see in a moment here? We're going to see these lights. See those lights start flashing when the probes are building. See these lights going up these? Zhoop, zhoop. Zhoop, zhoop. So you fly through with an Overseer, you see these lights are on, you know the Protoss is committing to more economy. That means this push here, not an all-in, not committed. Yeah, there's a good gateway count, don't get me wrong. There's still a lot of gateways, but you see more of that, see more upgrades working. Templar Archives, these are all longer-term investments. This was a really sharp 45 probe timing. There wouldn't be a Templar Archives. You'd just be using the DT Shrine to make Archons. You wouldn't be building probes. This third base would be just about empty. And this would be a much scarier attack. Instead, literally SOS just moved across the map and was kind of distracting with the Archon drop at the same time. And Namshar here is just way over-responded. Took forever to drone up and take the gases on his third and to get into those higher tech units. More Roaches, more Hydras. All that stuff is still the right composition to deal with what SOS is doing. This sort of push. Don't get me wrong. We saw stats be beaten by Sue, right? But we also saw that, yeah, you need to actually get your economy up harder. What was Sue's adjustment in the tail end of that series, of that grand finals? Sue's adjustment against stats was to get more workers out early, to defend a little bit greedier, to not be as afraid of the early pokes and the early pressures. And that's something we saw Namshar in this game was a bit too afraid of that. He wasn't double checking with his scouting, didn't get his worker count up early enough. So even the Roach Ravager is not a bad composition versus this push. You just need more of it, and you would love to have a few more Hydras and Hydra range coming in as well, just to back it up with a little bit more damage. I think that the icing on the cake here for SOS is just that army being way out of position. Remember I was talking about Namshar moving across the map and having no vision and not knowing what the hell was going on because he had no Lings? You can't let the Protoss move to here. He should have been landing Biles and sieging down and hitting Arc and focusing down Archons, picking off Zealots from the moment he moved on to creep. Once you let the Protoss get up here, you've only got so little room. If you pull your army back to over up here, guess what? They're in your bases. They're killing. You're forced to engage. Because at any point, Zealots can split into this base. They're in between your rallies. Once they're in between your rallies, you're already in a bad spot. Could Namshar have won in this scenario? Yes. First of all, Zerglings should not be building. I have no idea what he was thinking by building Zerglings here. I guess he was out of gas. Because he'd morphed a few... Yeah, okay, he was out of gas. That's why. But basically, you just want to be dropping Biles spread out, baiting out force fields far away, and you want to be further back. As SOS, think about this. Anytime you can pull your opponent out of position, it's going to be absolutely wonderful. And hey, take it, you bitch. My man, in control. Thank you, Jeffrey, for the lovely tier 3 sub. Didn't even need to remind you. Much love, my friend. Make sure you click don't renew on that one so I don't drain all your money. But thank you very much. I'm trying to remember, Jeff. Was that... It was Creator Alive, right? Was that the series? Me and you were having a disagreements of opinions on what the outcome would have been. I'm trying to remember. You can't even remember. I'm like, it was either Hurricane and Alive, I think, or it was like... It was definitely a TVP. I don't even know, man. I can't even remember either. Thank you very much, though. Appreciate that, dude. Hope your travel home was smooth. I actually had the best travel home from Katowice in my entire life. Beautiful play here by SOS, by the way. Good play, guys. GG's. Takes it 2-1. I had to run through Dubai to get my connection, but I got it. Watched a few good movies, played some Civilization on my plane. It was kind of fantastic.